Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Mail. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, he is in his mid-40s, he's from over in the UK, happily divorced after like 14 or 15 years of a marriage where, good Lord Almighty, the second they had kids, total bait and switch with the missus, and how he's now a free man, a happy bachelor after he finally ended it with her. And you're going to see in this story, guys, what really triggered the whole thing is when he got into he had a very bad back injury, and he was laid up for a while, and guess what she was doing behind his back? And wait till you see who she was doing it with, and the amount of BS that she was giving him. But again, he's finally free. But the main theme of this story is, guys, aside from a lot of other learning points, is that if your marriage is that bad, for goodness sake almighty, at the very least, start exploring the option of an exit strategy, because it's not worth it, okay? Obviously, he, like a lot of guys, stays in it for the kids, but the guy is literally beyond miserable. And you're also going to see how this all started before there was any YouTube or RP content. He was doing the whole happy life, happy wife thing. He was trying to do everything he could to make her happy. Well, guess what? That only made her more miserable and treat him like crap. And you can't do that. You got to stand up for yourself. You got to establish boundaries and enforce the boundaries. And if you become that doormat, they're going to make it worse on you. And at the end of the day, guys, life is short. Find a way out if it's beyond repair. Because guess what? That's usually the direction all these stories end, in divorce. Save yourself years of misery. And you're going to see what I'm talking about here. But it does end on a positive note. And by the way, guys, this story's a little bit longer, so it's going to be split up into two parts. But again, part 2 will be 2 hours after I publish this thing. But before I get into it, real quick, guys, if you haven't done it already, come by and check out our men's community over on Patreon or Locals. It's really growing just in the last week since I've been doing this. And you can either come on over and join 100% for free as a member. Doesn't cost you anything. It just takes a moment to sign up and see what we're about. Or you can become a paid supporter. And a paid supporter unlocks all the really good stuff, like all my videos from all 3 channels, 100% free, no commercials, none, and you get them 48 hours in advance where they hit YouTube. And equally important, censorship-free environment. No YT blocking your comments, your words, kicking you off, none of that stuff, and exclusive videos that I'm not going to do over on here. And you're going to get at least 1 a week, probably sometimes 2. So definitely worth your time. And I'll post a link in the description as well as the top of the comment section. But anyhow, on to the story. So it starts off, it says here, hello SSM brothers and 4% sisters. I'm the brother of the guy whose story you did about 2 years ago. My brother's wife cheated on him while his son had leukemia. I remember that story, man. Terrible. Well, he's on his grind and doing quite well. He's also the one that pushed me to send you my story. Well, tell your brother hello, and I'm glad he's doing a lot better. I mean, good God. And buy him a 6-pack for pushing you to write this in. I've been watching your channel since about 2020. I remember the first SSM video that I ever watched. It was about a guy whose girlfriend had given him a 3-month deadline to propose to her. He had looked after his best buddy's engagement ring for a few weeks in his sock drawer, and she obviously had been snooping and thought it was for her. Dude, I remember that one. Holy crap. 6 years ago. Well, writing stories is not one of my strong points, so apologies for any poor grammar or repetition. Names have been changed, of course, as well as locations, and jobs kept vague for the story. So, my wife and I met in 2006 when I was 25 years old, and Tiffany, as I will call her, was 24. I'd broken up with my girlfriend of 3 years, about 6 weeks earlier, because she had cheated on me while she was away at university. You mean a long-distance relationship? Imagine that. I say meet again as we used to be friends when we were teenagers. Our friend groups crossed over. She was always interested in me back then, but I wasn't into her. Probably hence why she was into you, because you weren't into her. Amazing how that works. We met by chance out shopping one day. We chatted up, caught up, and I invited her that Friday night as it was my mate's birthday, and she knew everybody already. She came out, and it was a great night. We shared a kiss by the end of the night and started seeing each other. After about 3 weeks, she asked, so am I your girlfriend yet? So she's still chasing you. That's a good place to be. And I'm glad you're not the one that brought it up. Now, I'll spare you all the details of my relationship, as to quote my brother, dude, SSM is going to smack the shit out of you. Well, yes, I would. We got together in 2006 before YouTube, before red flags were a thing. Back then, we just used to call girls high maintenance, depending on how much of a headache they were or looked like. This would later be confirmed by how they acted. Looking back now, I can't believe the crap I put up with. Dude, we've all been there. It's amazing. But it's usually slowly over time, And you wake up and realize, what the hell? I'm pee-whipped. Remember, guys, for every single hot woman out there was a guy before you that decided she wasn't worth the headache. Or she dumped them for the next guy, and then they realized later on when they got over her, she was a headache. The relationship was fun with lots of parties and going out. We moved in together after a year. Smack! Dude, way too soon. Only do that if you're going to marry him. Otherwise, there's no point. Figure out a way. My lease was ending on the flat, so it made sense. We got engaged 2 years later. Smack! Again, way too soon. And married in another 2. Our first child was born within a year, and our second was born 15 months later. They were our world and focus of all our energy. Well, congratulations, Papa. I'm going to assume y'all know what I'm thinking here. After our second was born, my wife went into a postnatal depression with acute anxiety. Both our kids were diagnosed with additional needs, which made things even harder on us. Okay, here we go. This is the type of stuff that really ruins marriages and things like that. Don't get me wrong, obviously kids are a challenge, absolutely, on multiple fronts at all stages in development. But when they have special needs, that usually means you need money. And therefore means people are working harder. Mom and dad, the husband and wife aren't seeing each other as much. More stress. You get the point. Her trying to deal with life and me doing everything I could to support her and hold my family together. Our time spent together as a couple became non-existent. You stopped being each other's fun time and become each other's stress time. As years went by, we grew more distant. Right there. Exactly. Now, that easily could happen if you had the exact opposite. Kids that were not special needs and you didn't need extra money. That can happen anyway. But especially when kids are special needs. But you were obviously doing what you had to do to take care of your family, and I commend you for that. Well, I would try to talk to her about it regularly every couple months, which would end with me having a list of things that she was unhappy about, that I would go and try to make better. Things would improve for a while before slipping back to being distant. Smack! Well, if there were genuine things that you were doing that were an issue, that's one thing. But I'm willing to bet you she just was always making up shit because she was so unhappy. She just wanted to take it out on you and knew you would take it. What about her? I'm sure there was a list of things that she was doing that was driving you crazy. I'm sure she didn't get a list, bro. And let me guess. The more you tried to make her happy, the more unhappy she became. That's the problem with the whole happy wife, happy life nonsense. Wrong. They'll only have some level of happiness because they're never truly happy if you act like a man. And that means put them in their place and they're being a bunch of bitchesses. At the time, I thought I was doing the right thing. Most guys do think that, dude. I was trying to communicate and fix the problems. I was making the effort to make her life less stressful by making your life more stressful. I would help more around the house, help more with the kids, get up on weekends with the kids so she could catch up on sleep. What I didn't realize was happening was that every time I was asking for affection, I was being given a list of reasons as to why I was not worthy or good enough for love. There you go, man, no matter what you did. And guess what? All guys here are worthy and deserving of love and affection and all that. I mean, unless you're a total fucking jackass, and you get my point, but still. You were a good guy. You're still a good guy. Good husband, good father. You're doing your best, doing what the narrative tells the guy he's supposed to do and where to get you. And, dude, you didn't know. Most guys don't. But now you do. I didn't realize the situation I was in, so I was blindly dedicated to keeping my family together. What was she doing to keep the family together? Doesn't sound like a whole lot to me. Sleeping, being depressed, and being miserable. I feel bad for your kids. Eventually, I couldn't bring myself to talk to her. I was giving everything I had to try to make it work and couldn't face being told again that I was not good enough. Everything I did was just expected or not good enough for her. I got blamed for everything and anything. It didn't matter what it was. She was mad at me about it. Dude, this is time for divorce. Abso-freaking-lutely. But it sounds like she's not working and you're in the UK, so I'm sure Daphne here would take you to the cleaners. But still, your own self-worth, your own dignity, it's not worth this. But I get you want to protect the kids and be there for the kids and would make things harder for special needs kids. But still, You end up in a situation where you're making an extra effort every day to maintain the family and life she wanted, while she feels like you do nothing because you don't treat her like a princess and worship the ground she walks on, and I was exhausted. If you would have done that, she still would have treated you like crap, dude, trust me. After a few months, I wrote her a letter pouring my heart out, asking what was going on. Smack! That's only going to make it worse. Come on, brother, you watch too many stupid-ass rom-coms. I was sitting at work and couldn't face going home. I wrote it, sent it, and headed home. All I wanted was a conversation. When I got in, she gave me an awkward look, but didn't say anything. I waited for her to start the conversation, but she never did. We just moved through our routine with the kids like nothing happened. Well, that tells you everything. This is a lot of marriages, guys, in varying degrees. For all you guys out there that think that, your girl's different, you want to get married one day, be aware, in varying degrees, this could be your life. I'm sure it'd be a lot better if our guy had watched this material and was checking her along the way and putting her in her place and all that, but, what's done is done. When I realized she was ignoring the letter, that's when it finally died inside of me. I became just a depressed zombie going through life, like most husbands. I know a few just like that. It's so sad. And in spite of me doing what I do, and they know what I do, they still don't fucking listen to me, and they continue on day in, day out doing this. Good God. I told myself this was it. This is what I was supposed to be. You live here with your 2 kids and your miserable wife. You're not meant to be happy. You're not meant to be appreciated. I didn't realize how depressed I was. Yeah, dude. It's amazing you found the strength to get up every morning, but you did. You were still, obviously at this point, it was all about taking care of your kids and helping them. Again, I commend you for that, but you got to take care of you. Well, during this time, she started a new job, which I supported her in, as it was in the same field I've been working in for the last 16 years. So did she just get a job for the first time in 16 years since the kids were born, or this is just a new job? Because if she's working and bringing income, I don't know if it's the same as your income or maybe more, I don't know, but good God almighty, dude, there's more reasons to get rid of her. If she wasn't working at all, I could see the hesitation because you'd be crucified with the alimony. I even rearranged my work hours so she could work full-time and build her career, adding extra stress to my life and job. In my head, I was telling myself that these were the hard times, that everything was about to get better. How wrong I was. Yep. She would regularly go for a couple drinks after work with her new friends. Break out your bingo cards, SSM, because here's the line. When she got a new job, she started socializing more and more and made new friends, and I was happy for her. We've been married for 12 years by 2023. In June of 2023, I injured my back, triggering major issues. I dealt with this for a year before. I tore a muscle in my lower back in June 2024 with a particularly big sneeze. I felt it go and knew it would be bad. So you mean it was earlier than that? I woke up the next day in agony in my back and my left leg. I could only lie down or stand up. Sitting was too painful. It was agony getting up and back down. I could stand just long enough to get to the loo and back. I couldn't sleep. Dude, that sucks, man. And I'm sure she was just so sympathetic to your pain and suffering. Every time I sneezed or coughed, it felt like being stabbed in the back by a burning knife. I couldn't move my big toe without my back hurting. I was completely incapacitated. You're probably like, thanks, God. What did I do to deserve all this suffering? I was unable to walk for a month, on crutches for 2 months, and walking with a stick for 2 months. I was taking strong painkillers daily for 4 months. Holy crap. It was during this time I was on the walking stick without my brother calls me and says that we need to meet up. This is where, in his story, he tells me about his situation in the pub. Again, remember the whole leukemia story and all that. We joke about him writing a story into you and how many smacks he might get. Over the next couple of weeks, I'd stopped taking any pain medication for my back and gotten off the stick. The daily doses of medication had left me spaced out, not thinking as clearly as with poor memory. Even now, I can't remember much of those months, but I was now off the medication and thinking clearly again. I'm glad you got off them, man. A lot of people get hooked on that stuff. This is when I realized how often Tiffany was going for drinks after work. You all know what that means. This was not a problem for me originally, as I'd seen it as who her colleagues were and are. I've been shown pictures of them out together and did not think of them as look like a problem. Famous last words. They look like those kids doing drama and art in college who all dress a bit funky, hipster, art student types, and a few of them in the mix. You get the idea. Those are usually the worst ones. Those are usually the ones that are the feminists, and, they do what those feminist empowered types do. I bring this up, and she tells me she's just enjoying the newfound friends and social life. She says it's good for team bonding. Nothing to worry about. They're just friends. We've only heard that about 17,000 times. Well, I get a message up one Friday afternoon that they are heading for drinks after work at the pub. I sort the kids' dinner out, put them to bed, and crash out myself. I wake up around 7 a.m. and she is not home. Number one, that's horrible. Number two, that's so disrespectful on so many fronts because you're going to be worrying about her. And this is a mother, for God's sakes, of special needs kids. They are the top priority. It's one thing if you must meet up with a drink or two with your coworkers and clients to, because that's a lot of jobs require that, believe it or not. But out all night and she's a mother with the kids, unacceptable. I go downstairs in case she's on the sofa, but nope, just the kids who are up already. As I'm drinking my coffee and gathering my thoughts to where she is, she comes through the door at 7:30 in the morning. She has no respect for you, no respect for your family, none of that. I say something like WTF, and she instantly is apologetic. She swears nothing's going on. Yeah, in that moment her nose grows like Pinocchio. She says they all fell asleep in the pub hanging out with her friends. They fell asleep at the freaking pub, like boom, their head hit the table. She assures me it's what happened, and I can call her friend Jessica to confirm. Oh yeah, let's call her friends that probably are lying to their husbands and boyfriends too, and especially one's name is Jessica to confirm. I tell her, how this looks, right? And she agrees it looks bad, but swears that nothing happened. The weekend and rest of the week seem fine. Then the next Friday comes along and I get the going for drinks after work message. I reply making a joke about not falling asleep again or I'll be writing the SSM. Smack! Dude, you should never have allowed that. After that, what happened that time, you shouldn't have been joking about it. You should have been putting her in her freaking place, dude. This is a lot. I understand your situation. I don't know what it's like to be in the situation, but I can have empathy. But brother, you weren't helping yourself a lot of the time. You must know this. You've been watching myself for a while. And she just knows she can get away with anything, and you're still going to be there and put up with her crap. You should have been checking her along the way. Who cares if she gets pissed? Your situation sucks anyway. You can maintain your dignity as a man by, stand up for yourself. But some guys got to go through so much bullcrap until they finally wake up. But anyhow, off she goes again with Jessica. Again, I sort the kids for the evening and head back to bed. I wake up around 4 in the morning, and she's not in bed and not downstairs on the sofa. Shocker, because she knows there's no consequences. I'm awake now, so I make coffee, and she comes through the door at 4:30 in the morning. Oh, well, that's better than 7:30. I believe my opening line was something along the lines of like, are you fucking kidding me? Well, at least you said that. Again, she swears she's just hanging out with friends. A long, serious conversation followed over the weekend with me asking how much of a mug she thought I was, and her still claiming nothing was going on. Because in her mind, she's like, this dumb asshole is going for this again. There's no consequences for her, guys. You gotta stand up for yourself. You gotta lay down the law, establish boundaries, and enforce them. And here's the thing. Obviously, he doesn't want to get divorced because it's going to impact the kids, but we know where this is headed. All these stories have the same ending, so you might as well deal with it early on. Well, I'm pissed at this point and questioning how good these so-called friends of hers are. I keep pushing, but she's making excuses. Something's missing. I ask her if she's having an affair. I ask if she's having a drug problem. I ask if she's gay, because that would explain everything. I tell her something is missing from this story as it doesn't make sense. Well, SSM, she denies, and denies. Well, brothers, that's where I'm going to leave it here because it's a little too long to do in one video, but I'll be covering part 2 in a couple hours where you're going to see whether her denying is accurate, where things go from here, and how her brother finally handles things right and is a free man and living to tell the tale and redeems himself and proving, guys, all which I talked about throughout this whole story in the beginning here. So I'll see you in 2 hours. Enjoy yourselves.